Hey, want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it!
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Emotionally unavailable. Hi guys, welcome back to Emotionally Unavailable. It's been a minute since I've done a solo episode, a few weeks I think. I'm really excited to do one, and it's not just going to be a grief update. I'm sorry, I just ate pizza and it's like stuck in my teeth and I'm like, why did I hit record? Anyway, so if you care about the update for my grief journey, that will be at the end, but I'm really excited because actually me doing this solo episode and getting this comment/question works into what we're going to discuss today so well because, okay, so first I'm going to start with, I got a question from somebody on Instagram about, well, to paraphrase it, like, is there a specific daily ritual that, because he was commenting on Friday's episode with Lucy about like planetary archetypes and working with those and rituals. And so he was saying, is there like a specific daily ritual for getting into the energy that you want to be in? Which, great question. Hello, new friend Percival. So I was like, oh man, I should do a solo episode on this. And I'm kind of thinking, because I don't do intros anymore. And sometimes there's stuff that I really would like to like explain, like in the good old days when I'd be like, I don't know how I felt about that or whatever. If you're an OG listener, hi Lori, then you know what I'm talking about. And Suze, if you hear this. But so anyway, I think I'm going to start doing more solos in that area, just kind of recapping, making sure that if we didn't give an actionable enough step, I guess, that is done. Because, well, I guess like for me, I've been just trying to like frame my whole like world of like what I'm doing here, and truly my needs are met just by having the conversations. But if I really want to help people the way that like my heart just seems to do so, I do think some things need to be a little more actionable. So if I don't get a solo episode out that week, then, I can put some stuff in the Patreon, and I will discuss that too at the very end. But anyway, so to the question, don't want to take up too much time. Don't want to lose you. Anyway, I'm letting it get in my head a little bit about like retention. Anyway, so yeah, got this question, and I thought that was such a good question, and it made my heart sing to even get the question. But also what really came up for me in this was, yes, there are lots of archetypes to choose from, and the rituals that you can choose to go with the archetype to get into that energy. And again, if we didn't make it clear enough, Lucy and I, in that conversation, which if you haven't listened, go listen to it. I really like her. The reason why it helps to embody an archetype, like that be the thing that you're really envisioning, and then the ritual to kind of get that into your body, is if we want change, we must visualize it first. Our nervous system and our subconscious must be able to see at least the first step on the path to get there. It has to feel realistic. So that's why rituals are important in general, whether you're choosing an archetype to go with it or not. Let me just, as an aside, say rituals, you already have lots of rituals. A person who wants to have clean teeth, which is an archetype, brushes their teeth. Girl with good skin does good skin care. Those are rituals. So, yes, if you want a better emotional, spiritual hygiene, those rituals are going to be a little different. But like a funeral is a ritual, you know? And so I just kind of want to dispel any fear around what the word ritual means in this context. And of course, you can go as woo woo as you want to with it. And Lord knows I love to. And in that woo woo, you can call it a spell if you want to. But for this, I want to give very anchored, grounded information because if you're not in that world, this is still for you. It's still very much for you, whether you're woo woo or not. The first thing that you have to understand about embodiment is that, well, it's kind of like, remember how I've talked about invoking and decreeing something? Because affirmations are beautiful and wonderful, but if you don't believe them, you're just affirming a lie, right? So, like, there's a difference between I have $10,000 in my bank account and I am ready to receive, I'm safe to receive. Like, that's a different affirmation than I have this much in my bank account, or I'm a millionaire, or I have people wanting to date me, whatever it is, or I am ready to date, whatever, sorry, just whatever your particular goals are right now. Maybe it's like, I'm worthy and deserving. If that doesn't feel like truth to you, it's not going to register as truth to your subconscious or your nervous system. So before you get into working with specific archetypes or even rituals, the first ritual that really has to become a practice is kind of shadow work and working on changing beliefs while also creating safety within your nervous system. So the number one ritual that you should be doing every single day, which we'll get to like a very like actionable step on that, but is nervous system work, safety, creating safety in your nervous system, which requires presence. So backing up to that, your rituals should start with being present, being grounded, being where your feet are in the moment, not dissociated. And that's why, you know, working with archetypes can become kind of an avoidant behavior if you're not grounded, because I mean, I remember doing future self journaling and living in the archetype world, like, because I love one of my favorite archetypes, which I did say on the episode with Lucy, is the tarot card, the Empress. Like, she is the divine feminine. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She is empowered, she's embodied. And so I would, stand in the mirror. I don't chase, I attract. I am a magnet to all of my desires. But yes, it did help me get in that energy, but that was kind of the only time of the day that I was feeling that type of energy. And then the second I was not doing that type of ritual, I was yelling at people and, still a basket case, because y'all know I had some real mental health concerns at that point in my life. So sorry, I'm looking at notes. So I have to have notes because I'm a yapper and I will just. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to use my glasses. Okay, yeah. So I have talked about this example a few times on the show recently, but I want to name it. So, one of the rituals that I do to expand my nervous system. Well, so I was manifesting, and I had a certain goal for my podcast downloads for this month, which, by the way, I've already hit. So, um, I said I'm ready to receive this many downloads or whatever. But whenever I actually did this last month and had to do some nervous system work around it, because since I'm so present and grounded, I noticed almost like a jolt inside of me, like a zap. And I was like, "Oh, my nervous system is reacting to that number." And y'all, it wasn't that high of a number. Like I was surprised at my response to this. And so I stopped immediately and I said, "Hey, nervous system, I noticed a reaction there. which tells me that didn't feel like a safe number for you. I'm curious about that, but I really want to hold you in that. So why doesn't that number feel safe to you? Are you afraid that you're not enough? And sitting in the quiet, that's what I felt. Kind of an avoidant behavior to not want to get your hopes up too much because you'll just be let down. And so that was what I felt pulling. Well, that comes from that not enough narrative. And I've just done enough inner work. We've got lots of episodes on that, but I've done enough inner work to know that narrative rules my subconscious. So I just felt that come up, that, it was a not enough narrative coming up. So I was like, hey, of course you're enough. Like you're more than enough. You're safe, you're loved. You know that you have gone through so much already in this lifetime. And of course you've survived. You have all the tools you need right inside of you. You are enough. You are safe. And so what I try to do in that energy when I'm like, oh, honey, and I tell all my clients this, and I say this on the show, I talk to myself like a 5-year-old little girl, like I would have needed at 5. What I wish that somebody had shown up for me instead of telling me, be strong, don't cry. And I did cry a little bit. My nervous system said I need to cry a little bit. And so it like literally just gave me like a 90-second cry and it was done. But so whenever I'm feeling tender and kind of raw and vulnerable and fragile in those moments, I always think like, man, I just wish I had a mom here right now. Because if this is your first episode, my mom died when I was 22. And anyway, so I always think,
What's the most sustainable way to love fashion? It's changing the way you shop by shopping with The RealReal. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted source for authenticated luxury resale. When you shop with The RealReal, you'll find the luxury brands you love, like Prada, Celine, and Loewe, all for up to 90% off retail. And when you're ready to refresh your wardrobe, you can sell the pieces you no longer wear to fund your next new-to-you finds. Buy, sell, repeat. Guilt-free. The RealReal extends the life cycle of luxury by keeping coveted items in rotation. Sell to shop, shop to sell. With The RealReal. It's better for the planet and better for your closet. Plus, during Earth Month, you can earn $100 extra when you sell with The RealReal. Go to therealreal.com to get started. Earn $100 extra during the entire month of April at therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com. Terms apply.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
okay, what would I want my mom to be right now? And I give myself all that mommy energy. And sometimes I wish I had a dad, and I give myself that protecting energy. And by saying like, of course you're safe, honey. Of course you are. Oh, you got scared? That's okay. Whatever it is that I would have needed right then, that's what I say to myself. So anyway, I did that, and then I started visualizing that number more and more. So here's what's funny to me. I just have to tell you this, because the whole point of this show is I am learning to be more vulnerable with myself and with others, and I'm wanting to help other people do that too, right? So I tell you in real time what I'm doing, what I'm going through, what my struggles are, what my wins are. So I have a really big win right now. So that was at the end of last month that I started with that manifestation. And then the other day, I don't remember what made me do this, but I was like, I need to like change my energy around manifestations, because I felt like I was being a little too specific. Like, I want this number and I want this. And so I opened up a Word doc and I said, I am safe to receive. I didn't do a download number, but I was almost close to hitting that number before I even did this manifestation. But I just realized that that number didn't feel like proof to me. And so I was like, well, then what am I actually wanting here? Like, why did I wanted that number because it was a small enough number to feel safe to ask for and work my way up in incremental steps, which is still fine. If you can do that, that's fine. Money, downloads, shares, whatever. But what I actually want is a more engaged audience. And I felt like maybe a larger audience would give me that. And so instead of saying, I want this many downloads, I said, I am safe to receive listeners that engage with my content, leave comments, send DMs, share, and are willing to look at my other content, whatever. And then I get 2 comments and a follow from the person that I'm talking about that, engaged on Instagram. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And so I'm sitting with that. I'm learning to sit, like my nervous system loves it, but it also says something trying to trick me. It's just looking for um, proof that I shouldn't get my hopes up is truly what it's trying to find, that proof. So I'm just letting that be enough right now. You know what I mean? But me saying before, like with affirmations, I love myself, I'm worthy, I'm whatever. I mean, I wanted it to work. I really did. I really wanted that to work. But that was not what got me to self-love. What got me to self-love was an invocation. I am worthy of love and belonging. I have nothing outside of me changes my worth and value as a human. That's what I had to say. And in that invocation, in that decree, that was a choice. That was the decision I made right then, right there. And then the way I confirm that decision every single day is I don't make self-deprecating jokes about myself. I do not talk shit about myself. If I make a mistake, I don't go, I'm so dumb. And if I do, because obviously that's going to happen sometimes, I have really old programming, I say, I shouldn't have said that. And then I will say, I am not dumb. I'm actually very smart. So, invocation, decree, you've made a decision. Now you've got to reinforce that decision every single day. And then the love blooms. So, for nervous system work, you have to make the decision. I am safe, and I'm going to teach my nervous system and my subconscious that I am safe to believe that I co-create this reality, that if we want to anchor it in psychological terms, that my subconscious is so strong that it will make me act in the conscious to reinforce what my inner world thinks. So all those beliefs that I have about myself that I'm not even aware of, I will act those out in my daily life to make my outer world match my inner world. So if I have a belief that I'm not enough, what I will do is not try new things. I will not try to make new friends. I will not ask someone out. I mean, I'm married, but you know what I'm saying. Um, and it will reconfirm that belief over and over and over, even though in the conscious belief, maybe I think I believe men ain't shit or all men cheat. So I can't trust men, or women are backstabbing bitches. So I can't trust friends. Like I can't make friends because women suck. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of subconscious beliefs that will make us believe something in the conscious that is not true, all to confirm that subconscious belief. And it's just self-sabotage. If we were to take it back to the Finding Peace workbook, he works within those archetypes of shame. That was my first entryway into archetypes, and I personally really liked it. But let's see, which archetype is it? The rebel. The rebel who says, fuck it, do those drugs, eat those dozen donuts, call into work today. Whatever it is that the rebel is enacting you to do, it is an archetype of shame, because that shame is what's compounding all those subconscious narratives. So I feel like we've lost the plot a little bit here. Anyway, so my point is, if you want actual daily rituals, you have to do nervous system work. So that looks like being present, being grounded first and foremost. So the first thing I recommend to all my clients to do for that is set an alarm for 3 times a day. And if you only do it once, even, we'll call that a win, okay? But set an alarm for 3 times a day, and just for 15 seconds, 2 or 3 deep belly breaths with your hand on your stomach so you could feel the rise and fall of your belly, because that's a somatic exercise. You are connected with the body, and you're literally just noticing what's happening inside of your body. Is my tummy growling? Is it rumbling? Am I gassy? Do I feel any tingles anywhere? Is anything numb? Is there sharp pain anywhere? Are my neck and shoulders like tense, tight? Does that hurt? That's all you have to do. A few times a day. Set your alarm. Do that a few times a day, and you start to come back to this moment. You're not off in la la land. You're not fighting with someone in your head. You're not overthinking your to-do list. You're here where your feet are. So that's number one. The other thing is, if you brush your teeth every single morning, as you're doing that, name the steps. I am grabbing out loud, I'm grabbing my toothpaste. I'm putting toothpaste on my toothbrush. I wet mine, so I'm running the toothbrush under the water, brushing my teeth. Do that every morning. That's how you start to create a practice of mindfulness. And mindfulness is the first step to nervous system awareness and safety. Because if you are operating on autopilot, which is from your subconscious, it is all that shitty programming that is at the wheel. The I'm too much and not enough. The weight of the world's on my shoulders and no one to help me carry it. I'm a fundamental fuck up, and at my core, I'm pretty sure I'm fundamentally unlovable. Everyone leaves. Those are all the narratives that are right up here where you're not even aware, and they're driving the wheel. So, presence, grounded, mindfulness. That's the first step to nervous system awareness and safety. And a few examples of some things that your nervous system may feel afraid of when you're starting to try to like expand or grow or just step outside your comfort zone is that fear of more. I remember that when I very first started the podcast, I was very afraid of it being successful because I had a very proven track record of starting things and getting them to a point of success. I did not always have a great track record of sustaining that success. So there was a part of me that's like, well, what if I do all this and everyone knows I've done it and then I just quit? Because, like, I can't even think of any great examples other than dieting, but like you do all these things publicly and you get all this public validation for it and then, you quit it for whatever reason. And I don't know, it's embarrassing. You know what I mean? Now I work through that stuff, but that was a real fear of mine. And I understood then what the fear of success was. And also, just like there's been times I've been trying to manifest a certain amount of money and just like felt that, or received something that I asked for and just felt that jolt to my system. And now I'm so aware of it that I can be like, oh, we are not going to resist. So, and resistance comes up in all kinds of forms. So, but then another fear that's coming up is like, I'm ready. If I was saying I'm safe to be seen, I remember saying that, but not really believing it. So, like in my system, I could feel the resistance to like, am I safe to be seen? Like if I start posting clips of myself and whatever, like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to withstand the judgment? And like people on the internet are mean sometimes. Like, am I going to be able to deal with that? Yeah, I can deal with that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like rude stuff doesn't bother me because it does, but like, it's fine. Like I get over it. So, but that was a practice. Like, hey, you are safe to be seen. You do not have to water yourself down for anyone. You can take up as much space as you need. You are worthy of taking up as much space as you need. But I had to like really connect with my body to do that. I had to be present. I had to see that I was afraid and then calm the fear with love and nurturing. Not like the shit talk that some of these, I'll just call them influencers, some of these people that I've seen give advice. I'm like, yeah, that's just shaming someone. You don't want to shit talk yourself. And also, it's best to not resist what's coming up naturally. Notice it and be like, oh, I notice you're afraid. And that's okay. Name it. I'm afraid of that, actually. Why? Why am I afraid of it? I don't know. We could figure that out later. I'm afraid of it, and I know the truth is I'm enough. I'm enough for whatever it is I'm asking for. And then I like to do shadow work. That's why all of my workbooks include shadow work prompts because it just, sitting with yourself quietly and asking yourself questions, not too many because we're so good at intellectualizing things. But like one question is, if I actually allowed myself to receive more, what am I afraid would happen next? And I think for me, when I ask myself that question, um, the real fear is always the same thing. What if I receive and think things are going to be better and I get my hopes all up and just to have my dreams crushed? So it's always like the same thing. I'm afraid of getting my hopes up. I want to quit before I start because that's easier than believing and then having my dreams crushed. That is the thing that I have to work through all the time. And then what did I learn when I was growing up about people who took up space or were fully seen? I'll tell you, I was taught they were egotistical, they bragged too much, they're needy, they're sensitive, nothing positive. So I believed I was those things if I made my needs known, if I spoke my beliefs. I mean, that's why I was such a chameleon. I wouldn't tell people how I really felt about stuff. I would just, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And just I could go along with what anybody said with some really educated talking points and even. And then the idea of the coddling yourself, that's, a version of reparenting. And what a parent needs to give you in that moment is not pushing, it's accepting, noticing. Like, we're not trying to fix anything. It's just staying with it, staying with what we're feeling. Oh, I'm noticing that really scared you. That felt really unsafe. Noticing that, feel afraid. Okay. Well, you're allowed to. You're allowed to feel afraid. You see what I'm saying? And then, but do you want me to offer you the truth? And you know what? Sometimes your nervous system's going to say no to that. Sit with that. Like, oh, you're not ready. Okay. Okay. Let me just hug you then. I give myself hugs. I use weighted blankets. I take a shower. You know, again, like for nervous system regulation, you got to hit the physical needs first. Have you eaten? Are you tired? Do you need water? Do you need some like self-care, like shower, face wash, brush your teeth, that kind of thing? And so those are really important things. So to tie this all up in a pretty little bow, yes, daily rituals count, but I would say do your nervous system work first or alongside. I'm not saying get very structured about it. But if you're going to do archetype work and you're going to do, rituals within that archetype, make sure you're preparing your nervous system. Because when you get into that energy, your nervous system's going to revolt because that doesn't feel safe. Because you will get into the energy. Like when I get into that divine feminine energy, I'm like, or like if you do the Superman pose, like, yeah, I'm a badass. I got this. Well, there was a time that like I wasn't even aware that my nervous system was responding negatively to it, but it was. So make sure your number one daily practice is the nervous system work. And like I said, check the show notes. I'm going to include a couple links if you want some help with archetypes, like picking one and then some rituals within that. But for myself, I really like the one who receives. And so I'm just doing the manifesting, and I'm safe to receive. And so one of my manifestation was more engagement with my content. So excited for that. And, I don't do a great job of like saying, hey, comment, like engage with me. I love engagement. And I want you to know that you don't embody something by doing it perfectly. You don't need to do any of this perfectly. But you've heard me say several times, you can't just think about it and learn a new concept. You have to integrate the new concept. That's where the ritual really gets you into the integration, because when I said I wanted to be a person who was less reactive, nothing in my environment changed. I still had plenty to react to. And the integration came the very first time that I was in the situation and had to learn to respond instead of react. And so I had to take that first step. That's true integration. The rituals help you to see what that energy would look like, help you visualize a time that you might need to respond differently. How did I respond before? How do I want to respond now? That's a great ritual to do, is envisioning how I'm going to respond next. And then the integration comes when you actually take that step. When your nervous system and your subconscious go, hey, remember we were going to try to do this differently, and you do it. So yeah, if this brought anything up for you, I'd love for you to leave a comment. If you have any further questions, ask, and I will be adding something to the Patreon in the next few days to further help you with this. So, if you want to check that out, it's in the link tree in my show notes. Okay, grief update. Okay, so I'm still attending my grief groups. There's only 2 left of this session, and I'm having some anticipatory grief about that because I really have come to love the people I attend this group with, and I'm very sad thinking I might never see them again. And I'm also hedging on whether or not I'm gonna like actually ask if we can keep in contact. So there's that. Learning in a lot of my updates and just in general in the conversations, you've heard me say, I was really struggling with feeling like people weren't showing up for me, but I also knew that I wasn't asking them to. And I've really, I think, worked through that. I think I'm good with that now. Like, I'm asking people for what I need. And also, I'm really proud of this one, actually. So, you've also heard me say a lot about how, like, I'm raw and things like just almost anything that people try to say in some effort to comfort me bothers me. So, I've actually been saying when it's bothering me, we're like making a clarification, and that's been going really well, actually. I do still notice the symptoms of PTSD. So while they are a lot better, I'm still basically checking to see if someone in my house died once a day, like all the time. Like, hey, have you seen Bryson? Okay, good. I thought he was dead. Stuff like that. So that's fun, but I'm not shaming myself for it. I'm just noticing it and doing my nervous system work like I'm telling y'all to. I will say, I think the thing that the wording that I would use, the perfect sentence that I've come up with is, I am okay. I'm doing okay, but I am not fine. And so I think it hurt me. And I knew this was like my own thing. So it's not like anybody has done this. So I'm taking my accountability. But I was just feeling really unseen and misunderstood. And I still am, but I'm learning to say, like, I'm okay. I'm not fine. I have PTSD. I'm living in a world without my child. Just lots of different things. But I am okay because I'm very grounded in what my truth is spiritually. So I know that this was part of our blueprint. I don't get tangled up in all of the remorse and regret and guilt because it won't change anything. He's not coming back. And I know that. So for me, I notice it, I hold it, I release it. I don't try to well, I can be kind of bad about just like dismissing it altogether, but I'm getting better about holding those thoughts when they come up like, oh, you're having some remorse. Okay, that's okay. When you're ready, release that. So yeah, I have really great tools for dealing with my grief. I'm holding the grief the best that I possibly can, but I am not fine. I'm not fine. I'm okay. I'm good, but I'm not fine. And so I think that's what I want to say is I'm not fine. There's plenty of shit that I go through on a daily basis, and it is constant work to be as good as I am. And so I think that's the thing that I would want to say. But I still feel incredibly loved and supported by my very small village, but it is a village. And when I ask for what I need, I receive it every time. So, yeah. So I guess that's about as good of an update on that as I can get. So yeah. So the Patreon, I'm just trying to understand maximum impact while not burning myself out. So I have created a few different kinds of containers all within the Patreon at the different tiers. So I'm releasing more on the free tier. This is going to be a slow build out because I'm not going to force myself to try to make it a worthy Patreon right now. But I did add a couple of free things over the weekend. And so if you like the free stuff and feel like being a friend of the show and supporting what we're doing here, that's what that $3 tier is for. The $5 tier is kind of the same thing, but you'll also get early ad-free episodes of the show. And then the $10 tier is like a come sit closer. I'm building out an audio library of rituals. Me walking you through, if you're spiraling, me walking you through that spiral, all kinds of stuff. I'll give more examples later, but I'm just telling you. Yeah, so you can read the descriptions. I don't want to get all into that. I'm tired. But I do want you to know that today my friend and I went to a place if you're a local Okie homie, This place is called Strange Earth. It's in Midwest City. And we made from stained glass little plant stakes. So I made a little mushroom and a butterfly. And I'm so excited. Like, I had such a good time with them. And I can't wait to put them in a pot, like a plant, you know. They're beautiful. Like, literally, they just make my soul so happy. So I will put pictures of those in the Patreon too. So anyway, yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you being here. Again, leave a comment if any of this resonated, or if you have questions, like you want a further deep dive or whatever. Hey, and if you haven't, make sure that you've rated the show on either Spotify or Apple or both. Ratings really help you advance in your standing. And right now I'm in a top 5%, and I'm really pushing for top 3%, and it's my next goal. So rate the show. Okay, I love you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.